Did you know there's a whole subculture with karaoke? Well, my next guest is deep into that subculture, and we get into that quite a bit after he tells us the interesting way he found out he has cancer. Welcome to Walt's Kitchen Table, where I feature captivating stories from fascinating people. Jeff Freeland is an all-around funny guy. And also in this episode, there is a lot of innuendos and adult humor and swearing, so I'll give you a heads up on that. We also talk about Caddyshack and how being hot tub drunk relates to John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. So let's get to it. So it don't matter, though.
Okay.
So go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me, right?
Yes.
So speak into the...
Hello?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear... Oh, like that? Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
you got to be... And then you got to talk pretty loud.
Oh, okay.
So
like
you can't,
right here.
you can't sit back like this. You got to be kind of right on
You
it.
got to be right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like a dick in your mouth, dude. You right up on it.
I mean, a small dick. So, like I said earlier, like you.
Oh, see, if it was me, you'd be way back here like this.
What a terrible reply.
I know. And I had to think about it. I'm like, pause, think. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. But yeah, that's what we're.
All right, so we talked about dicks already, so that's one thing off the bucket list.
Well, like my good buddy Tommy, you just got to throw the word cock out every time you get a chance.
Yeah, why not?
Right?
Make it exciting.
Yeah. Well.
Put a little salt and pepper on your conversation.
Yeah. Well, no, I'd like to have expectations right up front.
Okay. Like
Right.
an upfront contract, I gotcha.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's like, oh shit, this is going to be a dirty conversation.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, like, when I'm at networking groups, I don't filter myself. I just drop fuck whenever, or I'll be like, fuck this, fuck that.
Yeah, but the thing is with the word fuck, right? I'll tell you a quick story when my wife Val met my mom for the first time, right? My mom is straight up OG, right? And we walk up to her. I said something. I can't remember exactly what it was. And she fired back at me. I'm like, shit, whatever, go fuck yourself, right? In that tone. Mm-hmm. And Val was like, I can't believe you just told your mom to go fuck herself. I go, it's in the tone.
Yeah, totally.
Now, if I turned to my mom and went, go fuck yourself. Now, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now.
Yeah.
She'd have fucking just killed me at that point. And then the next question, she turned right and looked at Val and went,
Done the world a favor.
yeah, she turned and looked at Val and went, does my husband please you? Straight up, man, in a conversation in a crowded room.
Wow.
That's how OG my mom is.
Look at that.
Right?
More balls than both of us combined.
Probably. Well,
being considering, yeah.
yeah, I was just going to say, I think you're a little below average at this point. So, well, we need to put that in context because there's going to be multiple one-ball jokes, I imagine, through this conversation.
If there isn't, I'm going to be very disappointed.
That this is true.
I might get up early and leave.
You are a testicular cancer survivor,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But you had a bunch of complications, right? Go ahead.
So there were complications.
Well, first of all, how did you find out that you had testicular cancer?
Great question. So I came home from a job in the city. I was worn out, and I smoked a lot of weed and drank a lot of whiskey. And I was sitting in bed watching Pulp Fiction. So I'm sitting there watching it. You know what it's like as a guy. Guys get this, so I can tell you.
Yeah, of course.
For ladies out there who don't understand, sometimes it's like something to fidget with. So you kind of fidget with your balls or your junk. You're just messing around.
Well, you're high
around.
watching Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
Okay, real quick,
with a significant amount of whiskey as well. So I had a good twist going.
So Pulp Fiction,
Yeah,
arguably one of the greatest movies ever.
I'd agree.
When I watched that scene where John Travolta is going to pick up Uma Thurman, right?
Uma Thurman, yeah.
Where he's walking down the sidewalk to the front door.
Are you going to tell me he turns you on?
No.
Oh, okay.
How many guys in history are like, I want to be John Travolta right now? He's like acting all cool and like,
he was fucking Cool Joe in that movie.
Such a great scene.
He actually to prepare for what it feels like to be on heroin, he would get wasted in hot tubs. You know about that, right?
No.
That's the thing. Oh yeah, yo.
Get wasted like drunk in a hot tub? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got a hockey story about that.
It amplifies the fuck out of it if you're because your blood gets super thin because of the hot water.
Yep,
And then the alcohol on top of that, it's like,
well,
it's a thing.
We, I had some friends, we had a traveling broomball team in Colorado, which is like hockey, but it's with a ball instead of a puck.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where we were, but we were in a.
Well, we're talking about my ball, so that's always a good place.
But the hot tub thing. No, this makes sense because we'd always get fucked up after a game, sitting in the hot tub, and the whole team would be in the sauna or hot tub or whatever. But in this specific story, we were in a hot tub and drinking, getting all fucked up, and a guy stood up from the hot tub, just like a tree. Passed right out. And one of our teammates is a fireman and a medic. Mm-hmm. And he's like, looked him all over. He goes, yeah, just combination of alcohol and the heat. I didn't even think about thinning your blood.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. It's thinning your blood from the alcohol in the water.
So he did that to practice so he could act like he was on heroin?
To get close to what that feeling is like. That just doped feeling. Because I don't think painkillers were really a thing in the 90s. Because that would be the closest thing to it. Would be just
like today, right?
Yeah, just pop a bunch of oxys and you'll get that feeling. But
yeah, because I'm thinking about stuff we have today, but I guess they didn't have some of that stuff back then, right?
I mean, as far as I can tell,
I don't know. Well, I wasn't in that scene back then, so
I was still sucking on my thumb. So
Mm-hmm. So you're at home playing with yourself, watching Pulp Fiction. This is where we left off.
He's not wrong.
So then what?
So I just I felt not really a lump so much, but what felt like a pebble on my testicle. It was hard, like rock hard.
And it was like stuck to your testicle?
It was inside, protruding out.
Okay.
And my first initial thought was, holy shit, it's a tumor.
It's not a tumor. I had to do it.
It's all right.
Okay, then, so like you just straight up panic?
No. So I mentioned that I smoked weed and drank whiskey because it kept me calm. And I was like, okay, there's nothing you can do right now. Just go the fuck to sleep because you're already half in the bag. Just get to bed and go see the doctor tomorrow morning. So I did exactly that.
It didn't keep you up at night, like
no. Again,
you were just that blasted.
When I smoke just enough and drink just enough, it's like the perfect zone. Like I hit my Goldilocks point, so I had no anxiety at that point. I was like, all right, just get to bed. I was tired already. I was working in the city all day. So anyway, so I got up the next morning and then went to see my doctor, and that's where it all started.
So what? I think if I'm not mistaken, it happened like really quick. He like examined you or something. And he's like, "We gotta fucking get on this right now."
Yeah. So when I went in, when he had felt it, he's like, "Yeah, there's definitely something here. This isn't normal, but I don't know what it's going to be though. It could be anything. It could be a cyst, it could be a tumor, but we can't know until we start getting some imagery." So he sent me over to get an ultrasound. Which was very interesting, getting an ultrasound on your balls.
Grease you all
balls
up
then.
Plural.
Yep. Well, there goes the end of the story. Everybody knows.
Damn, punchline gone.
So, I went in. I got the ultrasound. And, I was like, all right, stay calm. But at the same time, I was like, what the fuck's going on here? After the ultrasound, I had requested to speak to the radiologist to see what it could be because, radiologists right there on site are the ones who can look at it and determine what it is.
And what hospital was this?
St. Clair's. I live in Denville, so I'm like right around the corner, and my doctor's across the street.
And those who are listening, it's New Jersey.
Yes, New Jersey. Yes, dirty Jersey. And it was a Friday at the end of the day. Go figure, I'd find it then, right?
Yeah.
So when I got out of the room from the ultrasound, I sat there for 30 minutes, and then the doctor didn't come out. And I was like, well, what the fuck? This is a little weird. And the nurse came out and was like, the radiologist said for you to go speak to your doctor.
Oh, that's like...
And I'm like...
Bring your playbook and go see the coach.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, all right, something's up. So I went right back to my doctor's office, and I was like, I need to speak to him. Like, I'm demanding I speak to him. I'll fucking go in there right now and talk to him. Like, I don't give a fuck.
You can't leave me hanging on something
No,
like that. Holy
no, no,
shit.
no, no, no. You can't. Especially as someone who's a little bit more anxious with things. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna get through the weekend. Anyway,
Hence the smoking weed.
yeah, and the drinking too. And went in. I spoke to him, and he just nonchalantly was like, yeah, it's probably testicular cancer, you know, blah, 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 blah. You know, you're going to have to go through these procedures. You know, fortunately, it's very treatable. You'll probably be good in about 6 months, you know. And this is how he is. He's an awesome guy. He's good at what he does. He's just very, like, blunt.
Yeah, but if he was blunt and nonchalant, he's probably trying to keep you calm at the same time. Because if he was like, oh, my God, it's cancer, you know,
yeah,
it's gonna wind you up.
exactly. And it's good because I prefer that type of personality as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't like when people beat around the bush. So, you know, as he's telling me this, it hit me like a truck. Like, whoa.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Right? Because, well, obviously your mind goes to the worst possible thing, right?
Of course.
You know?
Of course.
So then what?
So then from there, I had to schedule an appointment with a urologist. Now, anybody who's gone to a specialist, you know, like it's tough to get in quickly. Mm-hmm. So my appointment ended up being scheduled for like a Tuesday. So I went through the whole weekend. I'm pretty sure, I think I went through 2 bottles of Bullet Bourbon Rye and like half a bottle of sleeping pills. My roommates were legitimately getting concerned. They're like, listen, no matter what you have, you might end up killing yourself here if you don't slow down.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, well, you're doing that just to
Just
ease the stress a little bit?
Oh my God, I was freaking the fuck out. Because
dude.
it wasn't, it's the not knowing is what fucks with you the worst.
Yeah.
So I go in on Tuesday.
And it's your balls.
And it's my balls too.
It's kind of
emphasizes
the...
It's sacred. It's sacred.
They don't call them family jewels for nothing.
That's exactly right. So I went in to see the urologist, and he gave the physical exam, and like within seconds he's like, yeah, that's definitely a tumor. And I could breathe. I exhaled.
Well, now you know.
Yeah.
So now you have a direction or...
Yeah, I could breathe again. I'm like, thank God I know what it is. So because it was a tumor, there was a 50% chance it would be malignant or benign.
Sure.
So then came the next step, which was the orchiectomy, having to remove the testicle if need be. Because here's what's interesting, and I didn't know this, is that if it's benign and they don't feel it's a threat, they'll leave it in there.
Yeah, I don't see why they would.
Yeah, exactly.
Why risk surgery and stuff if it's benign, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, because I mean, when they go in with the scope to look at it, they can determine if it's malignant or benign. I think because they take a little tiny like sample,
right?
Whatever it is. So then came the orchiectomy, and went in, got that, and when I woke up from the surgery, I got to see my testicle. By the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You got a picture of it?
No, I don't. I was like half in the bag because
but you got to set that up. Right? You got to set that up beforehand.
Listen, you're not wrong. You know, especially as a photographer, I dropped the ball.
Oh, no, see, I thought for sure you're because you know I knew you at the time and you knew
you did.
and all that.
You did.
I was talking to a mutual friend of ours and I was like, that motherfucker's gonna have it in a tube on his shelf somewhere.
I wish. Hey, for religious purposes, I could have kept it, but I'm glad I didn't keep it, and there's a reason why.
All right. We'll get to that.
You'll get to that exactly. So the story continues with. So I wake up from the surgery. The tumor ended up being malignant.
So you got into surgery really quick.
Yeah, because of how easy it is to operate in that area, to pull it out if need be.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's not that super risky of a surgery because they're just entering from your groin into the sac.
So yeah, okay, all right.
Because you can't cut the sac open; it won't heal, close.
Oh, really? So they go in from the groin area, kind of like on a hernia, like where they.
Yes, I don't know what the surgery's like, but
and they going down, like they go down into the sac then.
Correct. Yeah, and they pull it out that way.
So a sac can't heal.
From my understanding, yeah. I mean, just look at it.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, that shit's all over the place.
Yeah.
Especially yours. It's probably fucking hanging down to your knees.
Well, to the left a little. So that's a whole other story.
So where we went from there was it was malignant, and at the time on the spot they diagnosed me with stage 1 seminoma testicular cancer, which is literally the best cancer you could ever want to get. Because
There's an oxymoron. Best cancer you could get.
yeah, right. Fucked up to say, right?
Yeah.
But it's truth. It really
So
is.
why is it in that category?
Because it's operable, so you can pull it out very
Okay.
easily. Locationally speaking, look where it is. I mean, it's away from everything, you know. So you don't
Yeah,
have
but
to
that's
really,
kind of like a highway to hormones and like through your body too, right?
yes. Which it's funny you bring that up because that's going to come back into play.
Oh, that's right. Oh, you had all that shit. Shit.
Yep.
I
that's,
didn't. I forgot
yeah,
about that.
Yeah, it comes into play. It's
Right.
funny you brought that
Okay,
up. But
so-
it's ideal spot, and just again because it's also because it's like a sex germ cell. It's not as I think it's like as aggressive or something. But basically, it's the best you want to get.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, wow, I dodged a fucking bullet. This is incredible. And
Dun, dun,
I
dun.
remember I called Dan Exter up because
He just went through. Yeah,
Yeah.
we had him on this podcast not too long ago. Tell him
yeah,
his story.
Dan. Well, I met Dan prior to getting it, and when I called him up and told him, he said the words. He's like, "You dodged the bullet, man. Like that's great. You didn't have to
yeah.
deal with anything." So where the story continues is about a week later. I remember I just left my BNI group that morning, and I went over to my doctor to get my bandage looked at and like the stitches checked out. I come in, you know, formalities, hello, blah blah blah. Sit down. I'm just joking with him. You know, I'm in a good mood. You know, I just dodged the bullet. You know, and I remember I made a joke, and I'm like, I'm the only one laughing, and I'm like, oh man, must have been a terrible joke, like always. You know?
Bomb.
Yeah, right. And I look over at him, and he just has this dead look on his face, and I was like, fuck. You know when someone's got that
Yeah,
look, you know
yeah.
they're gonna tell you something. And he's like, I got really unfortunate news. He goes into explaining to me that when they took the testy to get examined, which is why I said it's a good thing I didn't keep it. Upon looking at it, they found out not only was it not the form of cancer that I had, it was a rarer form, a very rare form.
Wait a minute. Back up real quick.
Yeah.
So you're saying that if you kept it, they wouldn't have caught it.
I'd imagine, because if I kept the testy right there, unless they took a sample of it and sent it off to the lab, which they probably would have.
Yeah,
I'd imagine.
They're probably not
Yeah.
going to keep it and then look at it later. They probably took a sample.
Yeah, I guess that's maybe it.
Still, though.
Still,
Yeah.
they checked it out and they said they found it's a rarer form. So it was embryonal cell carcinoma. It's in the non-seminoma family. Basically, the non-seminoma family is the family of rare testicular cancers, and then I had a rare one in that family.
Oh, shit.
And
Dude. So you did a fucking 180.
Yeah, dude, I hit the lottery. So I got that, and it was also it was metastasizing, which for anybody who doesn't know what that means, the tumor it's hit growth and it's spitting cancer out.
Okay, so if a tumor starts, no matter the size, right? So as soon as it grows to a certain point, and that's what metastasize means. It gets to a certain point. Up until that point, it's not spitting cancer out.
So I don't know if it has to be at full growth. I don't think it necessarily does. But metastasizing means the cancer is spreading. Like it's where it started and then it's spreading.
Yeah, I mean,
Mine just
I
hit.
think
Mine just was a bit larger.
I
the
think
tumor
everybody's
cell.
heard that word, but I've never really understood exactly what it means.
Yeah,
like I've never
that's
heard
it.
anybody explain it.
Yeah, it's moving around. Yeah, it was crazy.
up.
So basically, yeah. So it was a rarer form. It was aggressive as well. Well, should we find that out later? And then it was metastasizing. So it spread its way out.
It's coming after you.
Yeah, it was fucking crazy, dude. It was wild getting that news. I was like,
So then, like, he tells you that news, and then what? Like, did he have a game plan, or he's like, we're going to come back to you?
Yeah, I mean, he's, again, just like my other doctor, very straightforward and blunt. I mean, the guy's, he's older, he's seen a lot of shit, so, you know, to him, this is just another day in the job.
Right.
So I just kind of like paused for a minute, just took a deep breath, and I'm like, all right, like, what are we going to do? So he laid out 3 options. I picked the one that was the best option of plan of attack, and then the next step was going on to my third doctor, who's a surgical head urologist. And that was doing the big surgery, the RPL&D surgery, where they cut my abdomen open. Oof. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
So why would they go and why the abdomen? Like,
okay, right, that's a missing point in the story there. So when before when I mentioned how the good thing about testes is that they're down there away from everything, but then you're like, well, it's kind of like a busy area because it's like hormones flowing through and all that.
Yeah.
So you have your lymph node tract going down there.
Yeah.
Now your lymph node tract is kind of like your blood tract where it's all throughout your body, but your lymph node tracts, and this is a real basic dumbed down version of what I'm saying here, but it's kind of like your sewage waste system. In a way,
your
like,
lymph node tract is
lymph node tract. Yeah.
Okay.
So like when you're sick, for example, like when you get mono or you're sick, your lymph node swells up because the sickness is in there and it's battling it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
like the
right,
lymph
all
nodes kind of act like a Venus flytrap, and they're on this transit system, if you will. And when the testes was metastasizing, the cancer got into the lymph node tract, and when they examined the testes, they found that on the transit tract that was still attached to it, that they cut off,
Yeah.
they found the cancer in there as well.
Oh, so then they jumped to the assumption that
It was
all the way
moving
going
up
down
into
the
my
highway.
lymph node tract. And the lymph node tract's predictable with where the stops are, if you will. So the next stop was in my abdomen, the lymph nodes there.
So that's why they cut you open there to see if
Yeah.
where it ended up. So how far did it go in your track?
So it made its way to, I guess, what would be the beginning of the lymph node tract. So
Okay.
it made its way into a lymph node. So anyway, back to the story. So when I picked the surgery option, I had done a CAT scan right after the orchiectomy, like in the beginning, and nothing was showing in my chest. So in December was when the surgery was, a month later after the orchiectomy. They said, there's probably like a 30-40% chance that there might be microscopic bits of the cancer in one of the lymph nodes in your chest. So when they finally opened me up, they found a tumor the size of a walnut sitting right on my aorta. Now, I mentioned the whole CAT scan thing there because in a matter of 30 days, it went from nothing to
that big.
fucking, yeah. And that I mentioned as well because this is the moment where when people ask me, was I scared? This moment right there is when I got scared because I had doctors who were well into their careers. Two of my doctors did the residency at Sloan, it's a pretty big deal to do that. And not only that, to get there is hard, but what you see, you see batshit crazy cancers. And for everybody on my team to be like, microscopic bits, for them to open me up and everybody be like, oh shit. That's when it got scary because it was moving really quickly.
And then treatment at that point, where they take out what they could and then treatment?
Yeah, so they
take out the lymph node tract?
So they take out the lymph nodes. They basically cherry pick the lymph nodes and they remove 26 of them.
How many do you have?
That's a really good question. I don't know. I can tell you I have one ball, but I don't. I can't.
So according to ratios, man, you're all fucked up. You got one testicle and you're missing 26 lymph nodes.
I'm all lopsided, man.
Is there medication now that you take now that
No medication.
Nodes? Okay, all right.
No
Let's
medication.
get back to the story. But
Yeah. So anyway, lymph nodes, they're wildly redundant. So even with 26 being taken out, there was no like, you're going to be fucked up the rest of your life. You have to take this medication. Like
that's what I was wondering.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. No. There's nothing like that. So they took them all out. They ran biopsies on all of them. The one, which was the obvious, was the one that had cancer, and that was resting right on my aorta tract. And then after that, we opted to do chemotherapy. So me, my urologist, and my oncologist all agreed, like, yeah, let's do chemo. And the reason we did chemo was just in case if there was any microscopic bits that had been missed or had gotten themselves out of the transit tract, we would be able to kill them. Because the thing is, and this is what made this whole situation scary, but also at the same time had me keep faith, was that the cancer that I had, as treatable as it is, and as effective as treatments are, if it gets past the lymph node tract, that's when things get bad. So basically what I'm saying is I was in a good position. I just had to be very proactive.
Okay.
But if it got past the lymph node tracts, it starts going into vital organs.
That's when you get into trouble.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw how fast that fucking grew.
I was just going to say how fast that grew in 30 days. If you leave a little piece in there.
Yeah, exactly. That was
Go after
totally
it
the
again.
fear, And I was fortunate because everywhere it went, it was operable. So I could go in, we could take it out. So
Now your chemo, was that pills or was that like in a IV? Or
IV.
IV.
yeah.
That kick your ass?
Oh, brutal. Kicked the shit out of
How
me.
often? How much treatment? How often? Like,
So I did one cycle, and a cycle. What defines a cycle is just like think of it as like a season for a TV show. In a way, like it's just a cycle could be X amount of length. It could be short or long, but it's
okay.
just that one season for
Okay.
now. Yeah. So I did one cycle. It was Monday through Friday, 1 week in January, and then Monday through Friday, 1 week in February of 2016.
Now, so for that week, did you go where did you go, and did you sit like in a chair and get it? Or
Oh,
like,
yeah.
How did that work?
Bro, I looked like the sick chemo kid dying in the
you?
chair. Oh, 100%.
Well, you still do. Fucking guy.
It helps me get the checks, I got to play the sympathy card.
Well, hey, whatever works, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, you lose all your hair and all that.
Yeah. I lost.
I can't imagine you without eyebrows, dude.
It's fucking creepy. I have a picture of it. What's even funnier actually was when my hair first came back, my beard came back first, and I looked like I was 40 years old with like 3 kids and alimony payments. Like it was weird, yo.
Huh?
It was weird.
So bald head with a scruffy beard.
Yeah. The whole losing hair thing wasn't too bad because I mean, also as a guy, it's not too bad. If it was a chick, it'd be a lot worse, But fortunately, it wasn't too bad, and the best part is you don't have to shave your ball. Yeah.
So, what was the worst part about the chemo? Like, did you? So you said you went in for a week,
Yeah.
right? So how long were you there for the day?
So the day I was 5 hours each day.
Ah, damn! And you were like sitting in a chair, laying in a bed, or like
Yeah.
what was the?
Yeah, it was fucking brutal. It was in a chair. I mean, the chairs are comfortable. They're really comfy.
Yeah, but still, 5 hours sitting there.
Yo, seriously.
What'd you do to occupy your time?
So the first week, I was very upbeat. I'm gonna beat this. Yada yada yada. I'm gonna be good. No worries.
And I imagine everybody around you is like encouraging.
Yeah, of course. It's a good. It
doesn't look like a 1920s insane asylum, right?
No, or your apartment either. Yeah.
Wow, that's very kind of.
I'm kidding. You actually have a very nice apartment. And if Val, you hear this, I was just joking. Yeah, it was nice. It was a good environment, and it was boring though. And the first week, what I did was I brought books and stuff. I didn't really have anybody come visit me. I just kind of hung out, went on Instagram, would read a book, and that was like the first week. And
but going back to the day, like, so you're there for 5 hours.
Yeah,
kicks your ass.
Totally.
You go home.
Well, no, sorry, it doesn't kick your ass yet.
Okay, so
what sucked about it? So here's how I'll give you the whole walkthrough. Basically, you show up, they ask you your name, all this yada yada, and then they put an IV in. Now, if you have a lot of chemo you're going to be doing, they'll put in what they call a port, which is a surgical port. But I just
seen it like on somebody's clavicle.
Yes,
like
that's where they put it.
Yeah.
I got mine wrist IV, which sucked because I didn't have good veins, and they were just, as in they weren't easy to find. And
it's terrible when you're a heroin addict, huh?
Well, no, if I was a heroin addict, it'd be the opposite. I could be like, it's right there. Oh, I still got the needle in there. Here you go.
Just put it in.
Yeah, exactly. But no, the pricking was annoying, and then the medication they gave me, which was cisplatin and etoposide. So the deal with this stuff is that it's super toxic, like a lot of chemo medications.
Sure.
Fucking
it's designed to
destroys everything in the process, taking out the bad stuff. But this medication in particular was very highly toxic to my kidneys. So what they had to do was I would get medication for about an hour and a half, and then the rest of the time was me actually getting just water through IV just so I could flush my system out.
No shit.
Yeah. That's actually what the bulk of my time there was spent doing, was just flushing out my system.
Did they have so to flush it out, was it more of a time thing or volume? They're like, okay, so we gave him, just to make the math easy, we gave him 4 ounces of chemo, so that means we have to run 2 gallons of water through him. Like, did they have like a formula like that?
Yeah, actually they did. And it's funny you bring that up because I actually asked them that. I was like, what's the formula you guys figure to do this? Because that was the other thing too. Like they were like, you might be an extra 15 or 20 minutes because I still need to finish bag number 2 or something.
Right, sure.
So
sure.
They did it that, and then at the end they gave me this wild diuretic, crazy diuretic. I had to pee 6 times in a row usually.
No shit. They
Yeah.
just want you to drain that out. Huh?
Yep, because basically they
not necessarily the water, but drain everything out.
exactly. Yeah. They basically would they'd fill the reservoir up, and then that's how you drain it. So.
Huh.
Yeah.
So the first week wasn't too bad. Then it just got kicking your ass, or what?
First week was okay because I hadn't done any weeks prior and I hadn't had my down week yet. So the way chemo works, or at least with the medication that I had, was that you have the first week where you get it, and then the chemo sickness, the fatigue, all that stuff that you see, you get that the following week.
Yeah, because it's got to have time to like destroy you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So the next week was rough. That's when the chemo really started sucking, because what happened was that Saturday, after I finished my first week, they give you what they call a Neulasta shot, where it's supposed to pick up your white blood cell count this way so you don't get sick, and it helps with the fatigue and yada, yada, yada. Well, the Neulasta shot didn't work because, it was like a 13% chance of not working, and sure enough, the luck I was having, it didn't. So I, because of that, caught MRSA.
Go.
Yeah, it was fucking brutal.
When did you find out you had that?
About, I want to say 3 days into my down week. So if I finished on a Friday, that following Tuesday,
holy shit.
I found...
Now, did it make you feel a certain way? And you're like, man, I'm not feeling good. And then they test you?
yeah,
Or like,
yeah.
how did you find out you had it?
Okay, so I had what looked like a spider bite on the back of my thigh.
Oh, I remember you telling me about
Yeah,
that.
dude, it was like it was like a bag of softballs on the back of my leg. Like, it was swollen.
Did you try to pop it?
No, I didn't want to do that.
Was it sore to the touch?
It wasn't like a pimple. It was like a a tumor. For a lack of better descriptions.
Right.
Yeah, it was like a tumor. So
And so you went in.
I had that, but here's what also I had though. I had a wild fever. Wild, brutal fever. It was so bad one night that...
You're home at this point.
Yeah, I was at home at this point, and my roommates were with me, and I topped out, I think, at 104.3 was where I topped out at.
So, real quick on that, years ago, I got super sick,
Yeah.
and I was in my late 20s, and I'm like, I don't need to go to the hospital, this, that, and the other. And the girl I was dating at the time was like, man, you don't look good. Like, I could start seeing my clavicle and my skull. I was just like losing weight. And the only reason I went to the hospital was because my throat swelled up and I couldn't swallow.
Oh, well, there goes your business.
Man, that was bad for business. Fuck. So I went, and I remember laying they get me in the hospital, and I'm laying on the gurney, and this orderly looked over at, like, I'm laying down, and he looked over my head, down at me. Mm-hmm. He's like, you're a lucky, he didn't swear. He's like, you're a lucky guy. And I'm like, of course, I got the super high fever. And I said, why is that? He says, your fever is like 105.2 or something.
Whoa.
Right? And I go, he could see that I was like, okay. He goes, it was either, God, somebody will correct me on this. I can't remember now, but it was
like
either
108 or something, or 106 is when they pull the sheets?
That's when he's like, at 106, we pull the sheet over your head. And it took 13 bags of room temperature IV fluid to cool me down, because they're like, we can't just like throw you in a bath, you'll go into shock. And they're trying to figure this shit out. And I remember my left arm, shoulder, and left side just being completely numb. You know how you get cold, right?
Yeah.
It was just like I stuck my arm out of the car driving down in the winter.
105.4, you said, right?
5. I'm sorry, 2 or 4, something. But I mean, now that's just 0.2 is a huge variable. But
well, that's the thing with body temperature. Like 1 or 2 degrees is a huge difference.
Yeah, even a 0.2. So if it's 105.2 or 105.4, that's a monster difference, right?
Wow.
But yeah, I just remember that big old dude, man. He was like, "You're lucky," and I was like,
you are lucky. Damn, that was close.
So I know how that feels to have a temperature
when you're
like
up that high. Yeah, I had a box of ice pops.
Your brain's boiling, and it made me sterile for about 12, 14 years
Damn.
because my body got so hot.
So you're not sterile any longer?
No, and the doctor said that the body's natural thing is to reproduce. That's fucking what a man does, right?
Last I checked.
Yeah, that's what you're built for, is to expand the species.
Yes.
And he goes, so your body's going to do everything it possibly can to be able to reproduce. Yeah,
Get back to shooting proper loads.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I did.
Got to prove you. Got to prove yourself.
I did. I got tested, and they're like, phew.
So how did you feel when you found out you have AIDS?
It was a little disappointing. Well, I didn't have AIDS.
Then.
Oh, anyway, so you're back to high fever and you got MRSA.
Yeah, so I bought ice pops earlier in the day because I started getting warm, and I was like, all right,
losing practice.
It's coming on. Yeah, you know. And so I bought some ice pops, and I was just pounding ice pops in my bed. It must have been like 2 a.m. I was like melting and called my roommate in. I'm like, yo, I think I'm gonna have to go to the hospital. And I called the on-call oncologist. Well, that's a mouthful. And he was like, come in at 7 a.m. All right, so I go in.
What time was that call?
Like, 2 a.m. And he's like, you're going to stabilize, just come in at 7 a.m. I'm like, all right. So I go in at 7 a.m. I meet my oncologist. They pull my blood, check the blood. They're like, you literally have the immune system of an AIDS patient right now, like someone who's about to die with AIDS. They're like, your white blood cell count normally for whatever category of white blood cells is your immune system, because like there's different categories.
Right.
They're
right.
like a healthy person's like 12 point something, 10, 7 or whatever, right?
Yep,
0.0. They're like, your blood cell count right now is 0.01. They're like, you effectively do not have an immune system right now.
Ooh.
And you have a blood sickness too right now. You have MRSA.
So you have no white blood cells.
Yeah, I have no defense, and the army's in the castle.
I was just going to say. Yeah.
Yeah. So my oncologist looks at me and he's like, I'm not even letting you leave. Like, go sit in a chemo chair. We have to get you into a room. And like, the only thing we can do right now is just pump you full of antibiotics and quarantine you. That's the only thing we can do right now.
How long were you quarantined?
4 days.
Was that like emotionally that bum you out? Like people could only come in probably
not too much. No, I didn't really have a lot of people around when I was going through this. My
was
family,
that by choice, or was that by you just didn't tell any? Like,
it was by just circumstances of life. My family moved to Kentucky. My mother and father, so they weren't around. My sister was working in the city, living in Weehawken, so she was working and busy with that. My brother lived in Philly, and don't get me wrong, people came and visited, but it's hard to have to stop living your life and just go spend time with someone.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
and
I never held anything against anybody for not being able to come visit, but because of that, because everybody being busy and all that, it's just no one was around. So that didn't bum me out though too much. I would say I was pretty optimistic, especially during that time. The hospital stay for the 4 days wasn't too bad. There was Rocky Marathon on TV, so that was pretty awesome.
Oh, you're all good there.
Yeah, dude, seriously.
Oh, well, on TV though, on like cable TV, so
it was okay. The commercials made me feel like there were people in the room.
That's a positive way to look at that.
Yeah. It was. It was all right.
From the original Rocky all the way to Balboa, or like how?
Man. Oh, it was up till. I think it was Rocky 4, because that's the one where he fights Drogo. Yeah. If he dies, he dies.
Dies.
Yeah, that's right, because he killed
only
Paul in the beginning.
Yeah, because I think Drago has like 3 lines in that whole movie. It's the best Rocky movie there is.
I agree with that, yeah. Probably. He probably has less lines than Schwarzenegger in the Terminator. I think Schwarzenegger had like 17 lines. I'm pretty sure.
The original Terminator.
Yeah.
No, he definitely has less lines than Rocky.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, because he's like, if he dies, he dies.
That's it. And I think at the end he says like 1 or 2 things.
Well, at the end he's like, he speaks in Russian, but he's like, I fight for me, not for Russia, or something like that.
And he picks the coach up and like throws him up. Like Darth Vader picks him up, with one hand.
Yeah. I thought he had another line in there though. I thought he had like 2 or 3 lines.
Oh, we're gonna have to look into this.
Yeah, see, that's why I need an assistant.
I was about to say you need a Jamie.
Oh yeah, all right. The cat doesn't work very well at this point, but So now, how long? So you were in isolation for quarantine for a week?
4 days, and
4 days.
it wasn't like a bubble boy, like
Oh,
no
God,
one come
that
near
would've
me or
been
anything like
great.
that.
That would have been great. I would have.
It was more just like, don't anybody touch him. Even to me, like just even going to the bathroom and putting my hand on my junk, the floral, that the bacteria or whatever you want to call it, the floral is what they said on my junk. If it was to be entered through and ingested in my body, so like me going to the bathroom and then like my hands reaching or touching my mouth,
Right.
that bacteria that isn't present in my body, if it got in there, could have made me sick, because that's how much of an immune system I didn't have.
Oh, that's crazy.
Because there's like different bacteria on different parts of your body. Like,
Well,
that's
no,
how
you-
bad it was.
Well, you're isn't it? You're just covered in bacteria, and that's like helps you stay alive, right?
Yeah,
Isn't
like
it?
inside and out. I mean, there's like a
yeah.
special bacteria that's just in your elbow.
Yeah, right.
It's fucking weird, man. But so that's how extreme it was. It was okay though. I kept positive. It was a little boring. Beds are uncomfortable after a few days, because I've spent upwards of from 5 to 6 days. Then this day was 4 days in the hospital. The beds suck after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter how comfortable. I even had, because I was in the hospital. I was bedridden for when I had my back, when I couldn't walk.
That's right.
I was bedridden for like 6 or 7 days, and I even had one of those beds that move automatically.
Oh, like the ones that can fold up and fold.
No, they there's like parts in that'll like move my leg and move up my back, and like little air pockets or something.
No shit.
Yeah, you'd be laying there and you can hear it go.
Oh, wow, you were living it in the future.
Even after that long though, even those beds, you're like, wow, I gotta get out of this fucking bed. Imagine that some of these guys and ladies, man, they're in bedridden for years.
Oh, fuck that. Fuck that, dude. Euthanasia at that point.
Yeah, pull the plug.
Can't wipe my own ass. That's it.
I'm out.
That's my metric. The day I can't wipe
Is
my
that-
own
is
ass.
that it?
That's my metric.
Yep,
The day
yep,
I can't
yeah,
wipe my own
I ain't
ass.
mad at you for that.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
that.
If I got to have somebody turn me over and wipe my ass. Eesh. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean it's one.
so you got.
I saw.
How did they get your immune system back?
So they just
How do
pump me
they do
full
that?
of antibiotics. That's really
And
it.
then your body creates the white blood cells?
Yeah.
or
So
like,
basically, the MRSA passed. Well, so the antibiotics were pumped in me to kill the MRSA. So once the MRSA was killed by the antibiotics then were acting as kind of like a peacekeeping force, if you will. Like they're not going to be staying there. They were just
right.
temporary there until my immune system got back on its feet. And that happened after a few days. While I was in the hospital was also when the next step of chemo started happening. So I get out of bed one day, I go to the bathroom, and I come back to my bed, and I'm looking at it.
looking at what?
Looking at my bed. I'm looking at my bed, and this just gives you an insight to my train of thought. I look at the bed and I go, who let a dog in here? It's like all this hair all over the bed.
No shit.
And then like 30 seconds later, I'm like, you fucking idiot. I'm like, that's your hair. And
Just all over the bed from like your back and
everywhere.
head and just everything. Huh?
Arms, legs,
No shit.
everywhere it falls out. And I remember the last day, one of my friends came to visit me. He brought me McDonald's, right? So we're talking, and I'm like, "Hey, Mikey, look!" And I remember I tugged on some hair and just pulled a whole clump out. And I was like, "Yo, look at that!" And I'm like laughing at this point because I know it's
And
gonna
he's
come
like,
back.
what the fuck?
He looked like he was gonna throw up. Like
I guess yeah, but that can be a little. So I can see why somebody would look at that and be like, "That's kind of gross."
Oh yeah, I mean we're talking about me. You know,
Yeah, well, I was going to say, you think it's funny. Some people are going to think that's gross.
exactly.
I'd be like, dude, you're a fucking moron. Eat your Big Mac and let's go.
Yeah, that's kind of what the expression explains. So after that, I got out of the hospital. The rest of that month was just like, going completely bald and then still having residual sickness of the chemo, which sucked. And then the next month in February was when I started my last week
Of chemo.
Yeah, and that's when I was like the chemo you'd see like in the movies, like the sick kid in the chair, like with the blanket and the beanie on.
At that.
Literally, that's what I looked like. I had a beanie on and a blanket, and I was fucking tapped out. I was done.
And at that point, you're not watching TV or nothing. You're just fucking
No,
laying there.
I was fucking miserable. It's not even miserable. It's the emotion that I felt was really only I had ever felt was during chemo. And the best way I can explain it to people is when you have extreme moments of joy, whether it be or excitement, whether it be like you jumped out of a plane or something really awesome just happened, or like moments of deep intimacy, whatever it might be for you that you've experienced that. Imagine the extreme polar opposite to that. That's what it's like going through it. There's just no joy. Nothing can cheer you up. You're just kind of dead inside because, I mean, well, you're being destroyed cellularly.
Well, you are. Yeah, I was just going to say, you are technically, yeah.
And I mean, when you think about it, things like serotonin levels, that dictates your happiness.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
When everything's being destroyed, just everything across the board is being lowered.
And they're trying to keep you in a positive state, I imagine, like the nurses and stuff, right?
Yeah, they're cool, but they're also, because they do it so much, they know how to handle it well. Like, right. they don't try to they don't try to pity you. They don't try to be over the top about making you happy. They're just very real. At least the people I dealt with, they were very real. They were like, we know what you're going through. If you need anything, we're here. But they weren't trying to be like, hi, Jeff, smiling ear to ear.
So how are you today?
Because, I walk in there like I look like I'm on my fucking last leg. And,
right.
They don't want to overplay it.
No, I imagine your appetite is shit at this point.
Yeah, terrible.
But you didn't have any restrictions of diet.
No, well, yes, I did actually. I couldn't eat anything. So I couldn't do any alcohol. I couldn't do any sushi, anything that would be unprepared.
Oh, because your immune system was still compromised at that point?
Compromised immune system. That was interesting. No alcohol for 12 weeks.
Why alcohol? Why no alcohol? Does it weaken your immune system?
Yes, I think that's the reason. Also, I mean, you're poisoning your body.
Yeah,
that's what getting drunk is. So I guess there's something else to that. But yeah, so that was the diet restriction.
No weed
for that.
either?
Oh, no, there was weed. There was weed. Yeah, there was weed because, well, it's funny. At the time, I really wasn't smoking because I don't like smoking weed as much. I don't like getting high either. I just like getting a little tiny buzz or like having like a beer. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Like if we were to compare weed to booze, I don't like drinking an entire bottle. I just like having a couple of beers. So at the time, the whole vaping pen thing, which is really popular now, and you can really control how much you take, wasn't around. So I just stopped smoking weed in general at the time. And it was Ash who was like, oh.
Mutual friend of ours.
Yeah, our lady friend. She was like, oh, why don't you go get a medical card? Jokingly. And I was like, oh, fuck, I could totally get a medical card because I have cancer. So I went to my oncologist. He was like, yeah, sure, here you go. Which pissed me off in a way that nobody...
Like offered it to you.
Yeah, because the medication they gave me was fucking garbage. It was expensive. It worked for about 15 minutes.
Yeah, but we could go into the whole pharma thing.
Oh, yeah, it's a whole other topic. But they gave me the medical card, and I got the weed, and within seconds, the nausea went away. And... yeah, gone. Felt better. Had a little bit more of an appetite. But here's the interesting thing, though. When most people I've met who've gone through chemotherapy gained weight in conjunction with because of the medication does something. I think it slows your metabolism down. Someone out there will know this better than me, but basically, you gain weight.
Huh? I would have never thought that.
Yeah. For me, reason why I lost weight was because of that abdominal surgery that I was just talking about.
Yeah.
I couldn't eat for like a month and a half because every time my stomach slightly expanded,
fucking pain.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen the scar that running down my abdomen. I mean, it's long, and I mean, right where your stomach is. So anytime I would ingest anything, it's like my stomach's being ripped open. I mean, you can imagine the pain was brutal. So the pot not only helped with getting my appetite back, but it also helped numbing that pain a little.
Mm-hmm.
So that worked.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oof.
It was a doozy, man. It was a fucking doozy.
So when did you find out that you were clear? I guess they don't use the C word with cancer, but
no, it's they'll say remission because you don't really know you're totally cured of it because there is no cure. It's just
right. That's it. I know your dirty ass mind went somewhere else with the C word, but
actually I didn't. Surprisingly, yeah, I know you should be proud of me.
What the change? Who are you and what'd you do with Jeff? But like, when did you find out that like You were good, at that, the best you're going to be at that point.
After they pulled the cancer out of me from the surgery, that was the moment we realized, okay, there's no cancer in you. So when they can't find any traces of cancer, that's when you are in remission. And when they pulled the cancer out of me, and then we did the chemo as a precaution, after I finished my last week of chemo, that's when we officially said, okay, this is your remission date if we're going to give it a date, which was February 12th, 2016.
So how do they figure that out? Do you drink that like dye, or you get some kind of test or blood test, or like how do they figure out that it's not in you anymore?
They do it by CAT scan, chest X-ray, blood work.
So the X-rays and CAT scan, do you drink that stuff that lights up?
CAT scan, you drink the fluid, or no, is it that? No, the CAT scan, they gave me an IV, and then I felt like I was peeing my pants. So that was one way. Then the chest X-ray, nothing to drink. They just take a picture, and then the blood work, they read your marker levels and your blood cell counts, and that's how they can determine.
Yep.
And that's still part of like screening for me, is doing the blood work. So yeah, February 12th, that was it, man. That's when the remission date started.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how often do you go in and like get tested? Once a year or something?
Yeah, it's once a year now. The first 2 years you had to be more on point, because with most cancers, if you don't have a relapse within the first 2 years, you're really good. That's a really good sign.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't have anything in the first 2 years, but within those first 2 years was when I did a lot. So it was like twice a year this, twice a year that.
Yeah.
But now I'm at a 1 year mark, and then after 8 years. So after the total of 10 years of being in remission, then it goes down another bump. So now instead of doing
I see.
X-ray and blood work, it might just be one thing. I still have to get an ultrasound on the remaining testy for the rest of my life, but that's it.
Like once a year?
Yeah, once a year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Damn, dude, do you miss it?
No, not really. It's one less thing to get in the way. The only thing I'm more cautious of is there's no spare tire in the trunk.
Yeah, sure.
So
sure.
there's that, but it's all good though.
So are you fertile? I mean, can you produce kids? And
that's a great question, because nobody knows.
You haven't been tested?
So
go jerk off in a cup, dude, and have them count.
Okay, so when right before I started chemotherapy, sorry, let me back up. Before I did the second surgery, the big chest surgery, and everybody knows this, so but for those who don't know, one of the risks for the abdominal surgery, if you recall I was telling you this, is you can go retrograde ejaculation, where basically the semen no longer is ejected through the urethra. It's now ejected into your bladder. And the reason for this is because there are 6 nerve sacs running along your aorta that dictate the semen being ejected out of the urethra. You remember when I said the tumor was on the urethra? They had to sacrifice some of the nerve sacs there because it was just right there.
So now it didn't have any direction. It's like, I'm just going to go the easiest path.
That's one way of thinking about it. The way I like to say it is, it's like my car is stuck in reverse.
No shit.
It still moves, but it's just going in the other direction.
So I remember the story now, and then you're telling me that you could feel yourself ejaculate, but nothing came out.
It feels exactly the same, to the point where even now, 3 going on 4 years of not having the semen ejaculate out, it still feels like sometimes it is.
So even today, you don't.
Yeah, even today, and I'm past the point of no return, so it'll never come back.
So oh man, so you can.
I cream pie myself every time I get off.
Well, I know. You did that. You did that before. Now it's just a lot cleaner, dude. No shit. So every time you ejaculate right now, it's just
right into my bladder, and
just no air, or it's just nothing but air.
Nothing. It's like a.
That's fucked up. Doy, what'd your last girlfriend think of that?
Well, I
haven't. I don't know.
I haven't had a girlfriend since before that happened, but the girls I've been with now, it's great. It's great. There's no worry of me getting anybody pregnant. Obviously, you still have to be careful of STDs, but
of course.
There's no worry of that. There's no mess or anything. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, but that's part of the fun sometimes, though.
Well, yeah, there are some people who are into that, and
Yeah.
I've had some friends of mine, like one asked her girlfriend, and she was like, "Oh no, that'd be a huge turnoff for me."
Yeah, I could see where
Yeah.
women would be turned off for that.
Yeah, totally,
I mean,
makes sense.
there's no payoff,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah,
Speaking of girlfriends,
going down a dark slope here.
I know it. Your last one was a little psycho, huh?
She had her moments for sure. I can't, putting like anger and joking aside, she's a good person. She, I think, was just immature with how she handled the ending of all of it, and I think also we were just immature together in general. We were both young, so
Yeah, but that put a bad taste in your mouth moving forward, didn't it?
yeah, it definitely did. What also helped that become such a bad situation was that stacked up with my family moving away and then me being on my own out of nowhere because that wasn't anticipated, and then the relationship going to shit, and then the cancer coming all within 6 months. So yeah, when that happened, that just amplified the whole I'm going to stay away from people for a little bit.
And what? Concentrate on the business.
Yeah. The business has never fucked me over, and the business has only brought me happiness, and
Well,
it's
you
helped
get
me
what
bring
you
forward.
put into it,
Yeah, totally, man.
right? So if
yeah,
you don't put anything into it, you don't get anything out.
exactly. And it's what I love to do. It's not even just running a business; it's my passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just so for context for people listening,
I'm a plumber.
Jeff is a photographer, and I'll have the links to his site in the
doll.
show notes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I got good news, by the way. So I don't know if Val.
This is usually pretty scary coming from Jeff. When Jeff opens up a conversation with, "I got good news, man," sit down and just
put your earmuffs on, folks. I'm getting my name for my website.
your name.
Yeah, Jeff Freeland. It's not going to be Jeff E anymore. It's jeffreeland.com now.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
What made you think of that?
Well, I always wanted it for the past few years, but someone bought it and held it ransom for
No
like
shit.
$2,000. Yeah.
Now, who the hell would sit there and go, Jeff Freeland? Boop.
A fucking asshole.
Wow.
That's who. Yeah.
So what? You looked up at it because when I did my website, it's just my name.
Yeah.
Right. Walt Blau. Nobody had that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who bought it. It's funny. I had a thought run through my mind the other day. I'm like, I wonder if somebody doesn't like me did it on purpose.
I've heard of that. I've heard of people do that a lot.
Yeah, like maybe an angry ex-lover, maybe.
Oh,
Yeah,
you got
maybe.
plenty of those.
I definitely have a list of those. There's for sure.
Hey, speaking of that,
Yeah.
I found out just recently you're a huge fan of karaoke.
Let me tell you something.
Where did this come from, dude?
I love karaoke.
It's not because of you like the Asian descent ladies.
Well, that's one thing, but no,
Okay.
that's not the primary reason why.
Okay, all right.
No, I just love karaoke because I was just thinking about that on the way here. Actually, I was like, what makes karaoke so good? And it made me realize.
Do you know the definition of karaoke? You know
I
what it
have
means?
no idea.
It's Korean for off tune.
Oh.
I have no idea if that's true, but it's an amazing
Fuck
joke.
it. Let's just make it a thing.
Isn't it? It's true though,
Yeah.
right?
Fuck
Right?
it. If we say it enough, it'll become a truth,
That's right.
Isn't that how this works nowadays?
I guess so. If you find it on the internet, it's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so how'd you get into karaoke? So what's your thing with karaoke?
Man, that's a good question. I think I started doing it when I was in the restaurant business. I worked in a bunch of restaurants, but I worked in a
Like wait staff, busting tables, cooking. Like what
yeah.
did
I
you
started
do?
from the bottom. I never did cooking. I never did bartending or managing. So I did everything from like food
Bartending
running.
is so much fun, dude.
Let me tell you something.
You would be a killer bartender.
Now I would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually wish if I had to do something differently, I would be bartending. I would have still kept bartending. Actually, I would have become a bartender and kept bartending when I started the business. But what I did was bussing, food running, expediting, waitering. Yeah, did all that. So anyway, being in that industry is where I fell in love with a couple of my friends. We would go out doing karaoke, and it's great. I mean, you get to sing your favorite songs. Okay.
Yeah.
So you get to that physical activity of screaming and stretching your vocal cords. It's fun.
Well,
And
that
you get that energy out.
Well, that and the chemicals it produces makes you happy.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's an
And
activity.
the crowd's cheering you on because everybody sucks at singing. So
Yep.
everybody just supports you 100%.
You're all in this boat together.
Yep.
And you have alcohol involved. If you could smoke cigarettes too. I used to
Oh,
smoke, and that was great.
a lot of those restaurants would, yeah.
Well, I mean, back then, especially.
Oh, yeah, back when you could smoke in a restaurant.
Yeah, but there's still like a lot of the Asian karaoke places I go to.
You can still smoke?
I mean, yeah, you walk in there. And
It's fun.
I was a casual smoker, never pack to pack, but I did it enough that like when I walk into a place, I can smell cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know, I got that bloodhound nose for them.
You ever do suicide karaoke?
No, what is that?
Blow your fucking mind, dude.
Tell me.
So I had a good buddy of mine back in Colorado. We bartended and stuff together.
Okay.
G Money, we call him. His name's Jeff. Awesome dude. And big guy. Huge. Super nice. Can sing like a canary.
That's your type right there.
Oh, my God, dude. He loved singing karaoke. Mm-hmm. So on his birthday, because we knew everybody in the bar business, we would take over a bar one night. Mm-hmm. They would close it, and the only way you're getting in if you were invited. I mean, this is kind of right.
Okay.
And his favorite thing to do was suicide karaoke. So you know how you get the little paper and you write down a song. Mm-hmm. So you write down a song, and he comes by with a bucket, and you throw that in the bucket. And he mixes it all up, and then he walks around, and you pull a tab out.
No shit.
And you got to sing that fucking song, dude.
Oh, that's cool.
The last time I did it, it was "I Will Survive" by Gloria Gaynor.
Oh, dude, that's great.
I bombed it so fucking
Great song.
bad. Some ladies came up and saved me, but dude, that's fun, man. Try if you got a group of people next time you're karaoke, and try that.
Well,
that changes the tempo a little, because now you're singing songs that you might not want to sing.
Well, what we do, I actually don't like going into the open area karaoke. I like doing private room karaoke.
I've never done that.
What?
Yeah, it's always just a bar, dude.
Bro, that's the best form of karaoke, bro.
No shit.
Oh yeah, it's
so like you and just whoever group you're with.
Yeah,
you go in?
you can get anybody. It could be anybody from. I mean, you can go by yourself, but it could be, I've seen 2 or 3 people to 20 people. We did it for my birthday a couple of years ago. We all went down to Powell Park, and
So there's
like
places
places
that'll do that.
Yeah, Korean karaoke is like one term of calling it. Like a lot of Korean owned karaoke venues are that same style. Chinese owned venues I've gone through as well, where it's a private room. You go in. And
it's like a behind glass door, like it's a
closed doors, like you can't see, and it's secretive.
But it's like a business, like you walk into the front desk.
Oh yeah.
You're like, I'll take a room, and like there's just rows of rooms and stuff. Like how does that?
Yeah, like a massage parlor.
I was trying to perfect. Yeah, I'm thinking like, how can I compare that? No shit.
Yeah.
But and then you got to be invited into your room. So like if you say you and your friends for your birthday had room number 4, and I just walked in, I can't come into room number 4.
Correct. It's private parties,
Yeah.
which is what I love about it, because you filter out anybody you don't know. So everybody knows each other. It's a good vibe. You get the right people. You have your own private room. You can be as wild as you want, which I know for me and you, we're pretty, both of us are pretty outgoing, but some folks aren't. So when you get those people in your group, they can be a little more open, because it's that closed private room.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And some of the places.
What about bar service and stuff?
So if it's a BYOB, you can only bring beer and wine.
Yeah.
If they have a license, it's bottle service. Bottle service can get pricey.
Yeah, of course.
We try to go to BYOB places, and I usually go to Korean karaoke places, and I try to bring someone with me who's Korean.
Oh, yeah. That's like bringing a woman to a strip joint.
Yeah. But the Korean part, though, what's great about it is, like, for example, when we went for my birthday last, we brought hard liquor with us. And because, like, when we first walked in, they were kind of, like, looking at us like,
you got somebody Korean with you, and
these fucking white people, what are they doing? They think that they can bring hard liquor in here? And then when my friend showed up who's from Korea, he, like, spoke to them, and they were like, okay, just, shh, don't
tell anybody.
Try not to show it off that you have bottles of liquor with you. And they like were totally fine with it.
Whew, nice.
Yeah.
It's not what you know, it's who, right?
Dude, seriously.
Yeah. Wow, I never knew that. Well, I guess, was it a movie I was just watching not too long ago? And there was like rooms with karaoke in them. I can't remember what movie it was, but Maybe that's where I saw it. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
they're crazy though. I mean, some of these karaoke places are wild. I went to one where I accidentally bought a prostitute and I didn't even know it. I didn't sleep with her or anything. It was afterwards when we left. It was like, oh,
Wait a minute.
that was a prostitute. I was 18 at the time. I had no idea.
Quote unquote. Had no idea.
No, seriously. I mean, I would have no shame in telling if something happened. No, nothing happened.
You ever been with a prostitute?
Never.
No, me neither.
Never. No. It's like we were just talking about before. The whole casual level of sex, it's lost its appeal to me.
Yeah. I guess at this point in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I fucked around a lot in my teenage years, and I think you get that out of you. Like, it's kind of like a rite of passage. And after that, you kind of you figure out what you want. And then for me, I was just like, eh.
I guess, and
Too many headaches.
You know some of my past, and that's where I can be at this point in my life. Like you said, it's kind of a rite of passage.
Yeah,
it's like I did that before. I don't need to do that.
Yeah, you have. It's good to experience it because you're
It's
not
life,
going to
man.
go through the rest. You're not going to go through the rest of your life wondering. You know.
Yeah. Well, it's to be old and wise, you first must be young and stupid.
It's a great quote. It's a really, really good quote. I like that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
So what's in store for jeffreeland.com?
So that's going to be my commercial site. That's where I'm going to have all the commercial stuff. So tabletop, like product, food, beverage, which I'm trying to get more into, and just have photos, motion with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Then I'm eventually come up with a name for the other part of the business.
So any karaoke coming up?
Yeah, dude. Birthday's around the corner.
What?
Yeah.
When's your birthday?
It's the best day to be born. If you look on the calendar, it's June 24th.
Why the fuck is that the best day to be born?
Because it's the best day to be born.
You fucking... Yeah, whatever.
It's good. It's going to be a
I
good
could probably
time of
find on the internet that February 17th is the best day to be born.
Isn't that the day that Hitler was born?
Who?
Hitler? Wasn't Hitler born on that day?
Oh. I don't know anything about Hitler. I do like watching some of the old, like the documentaries and stuff on him.
Oh.
Yeah, see?
I don't know where you were going with that. You just start off with,
I like to watch.
And I'm like, where is he going to segue this one into?
That's fucked up.
But yeah, birthday's around the corner, man. So definitely going to be doing some karaoke. I told Val, like, yo, we gotta go hit
karaoke, dude.
It's the best, especially when you have a private room. It's the best.
And not just because she's Korean either. She's very, as you know, she's very musically talented.
Yes. Yeah.
And then any big trips coming up?
Well, I just found out yesterday I'm going to be going to London and Scotland this time next year. Yeah.
For fun?
Work? Yeah, fun. My folks came up early to visit for Memorial Day weekend. They were like, we didn't know what to get you for your birthday. So since your sister's going to be in England and Scotland for a wedding next year, and we're going to be going with her, we're just going to buy you a plane ticket for your birthday gift for this year, next year.
You're going to go with them? You're going to be there at the same time they are?
Yeah, so it's going to
spend time with them like
it's going to be kind of like Family Vacation, the European movie. With Chevy Chase.
Those are great movies.
Yeah, it's gonna be like one of those, especially with my family.
They were, those movies were good, the first couple of them. Then they kind of got a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like Police Academy. Once they got to like the fifth or sixth one, it's like, what are we doing here? Just recycling the same jokes over and over again.
Yep. What's the lady, the wife? Man, I had a crush on her forever.
Yeah, well,
she's hot.
Yeah, she is really pretty. Really, really pretty one.
God, I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I don't remember. Cool character though.
Yeah. How about I think the best one is Christmas Vacation.
Oh yeah, Christmas Vacation is the best.
Was it you
amazing.
that I stole the? No, it wasn't you that I stole the Christmas picture from, where Cousin Eddie's out there, shitter's full.
He's in the robe. He's got the winter hat on. He's dumping his sewage waste into the.
And then the contrast of the neighbors is amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
One of the best lines I love out of that is where he's cutting the tree down, he brings the tree in, and he's like, "Where are you?" The neighbor, the couple is out next door, and they're like, "What do you think you're gonna put a tree that big?" And he's like, "Bend over, I'll show you." And the man was like, "You can't talk to me that way." And he's like, "I wasn't talking to you." And that was a lady from Seinfeld.
Yes,
right?
yeah, that was something.
If I hear her name, I know it is, but
yes.
I can never remember her
Yeah,
name.
yeah,
She played a great part in that movie.
Yeah, she did. I loved her in Seinfeld, but I love the Jelly Bean of the Month Club. Or the Jam of the Month? Was it the Jam of the Month?
Jelly of the Month.
Jelly of the Month.
Jelly of the Month.
Jelly of the Month. That was his bonus.
Oh, that was amazing. And if anybody's got any last minute Christmas ideas, I'd like him wrapped in a bow right here. And fucking Cousin Eddie. Shoop.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
And what was it? I think it was the Vegas one where the daughter of Cousin Eddie was telling Chevy Chase's kids, she's like, my dad says I French kiss really well.
Oh yes, yeah.
That?
They were outside like eating a picnic dinner or something. Yeah, it was something like that.
And her arm was like in the pickle jar or something. She was like, or the Kool-Aid, stirring the Kool-Aid with her arm. That shit, dude, fucking classic.
I love the line in Christmas Vacation where they sit down at the dinner table and one of the grandparents is like, I think it was they said something like, and who will say Grace? Oh. And then one of the other grandparents, Grace died 30 years ago.
She wrapped her cat. Yeah. Oh, my dad's favorite line in that is when his lights don't work for the first time.
Oh, when they're outside with his father.
Yeah. And the wife is like, he worked really hard. And the one guy's like, so do washing machines. That's my dad's favorite line.
Yeah, there's a lot of good lines. That and Caddyshack.
Oh, well. Fun story about, well, I don't know if it's about fun, but a cool story I like about Caddyshack. Their first cut was 72 hours long.
Wow. Holy shit.
Because there's so much talent in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, especially at the time, like for who was like big hitters
it's crazy
in comedy,
big, right?
Yeah, it was crazy.
So when they were filming scenes, of course, those guys are all type A personalities and
coked out of their minds. I don't know if you know they had a budget for coke for that movie. Yeah, Harold Ramis movie. No, there's going to be a lot of cocaine involved.
And they would go off on these tangents, off script, and of course they're like, keep filming it, keep filming it, keep filming it.
Yeah,
it ended up with hundreds of hours of film, and they're like, holy cow, obviously we can't. So
that's crazy. Like, I had no idea they had that much footage.
And then the guy that originally wrote Caddyshack, I don't know his name.
Harold Ramis?
No, he's
he directed.
But the guy that came to him wrote it, eventually killed himself because they went so far off everything. He's like, this is not what I wrote. It was crazy.
Man,
right?
all that money you got.
Right?
That's what broke your heart.
But
jeez,
that's a classic movie.
Yeah, it was funny
watching
Interview with Dangerfield talk about it because that was one of his breakout roles was him in Caddyshack, and I don't know if you know this, but he didn't get successful until his later years with his comedy stand-ups. Mm-hmm. So when he had his breakout role in Caddyshack, that's when his career started picking up. What was funny was that in the interview that he did for that movie, he said he struggled a lot acting in the movie because what really fucked with his head was saying a line, which we all knew was hilarious, and you'd crack up watching the movie, but the actors with him couldn't laugh. And he said that messed with him so much. That
because he feeds off, I imagine as a comic, you feed off that,
You feed off it, but also that's your indicator of like, hey, am I killing it right now?
Oh, so they're not laughing.
Yeah, they can't laugh.
And he's like, I don't know if I'm doing this right.
Yep, exactly.
See, I thought you were going to go with... he had to say the line like over and over again, like with
that
takes,
too,
right?
I'd imagine.
So now you gotta.
How do you make that sound natural and
over
not,
and over and
not,
over again?
Yeah,
where you got to punch it out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those were the two big issues for him, and he said that was like the hardest thing. Like he was like sweating like from nervousness. He's like, am I funny? Am I not funny? But what's really cool though about that movie,
all the coke is why I was sweating.
That too, yeah. But you know what's funny is the one scene in the movie when they're at the banquet dinner. And you know where he goes around, he's like, "Hey, you must have been something before electricity." You know, like that scene. What's really cool is if you pay closely, his like little entourage he has in that scene. Yeah. They're all cracking up, like they're all allowed to laugh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it probably feeds him, and he can keep going.
Oh yeah,
because he's like the king of one-liners, dude.
Oh man, that man was so.
My wife said,
food at a ballpark. Dog food. The chef grabs the cleaver. He's gonna go fucking kill him.
Yeah. My wife said, take me somewhere she's never been before. So I took her to the kitchen.
I love when he meets Spalding, the grandson. He's like, oh, nice boy, nice boy. And then he turns around and he goes, oh, now I know why lions eat their young.
And then, what's his name? The guy killing all the the groundhog. Or
Oh,
the-
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
That
Bill
was
Murray.
another. I think that was another breakout role. I think that was his breakout role. Was
Was it really? I could see that.
I think so.
He was
think so.
amazing in that. Then the Baby Ruth in the pool.
Oh, classic.
You
Classic.
can't get funnier than that, dude. He's like, it's a Baby Ruth, and he bites and the lady faints.
Oh, what about you though? What do you got going on with movies? You watching anything recently? Any new movies?
Nah. Obviously, we went and watched the Avengers stuff. You know,
Oh,
I feel you
yeah.
got to watch that in a big screen just for effect. But what'd you think of Game of Thrones? You watch that?
I did. I started watching Game of Thrones in 2011 when it first came out.
You had to binge watch a little to get caught up.
No,
no, when it first came out.
When it
I'm
first
sorry,
came out, yeah. I caught like the ending of the first episode the night it premiered, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" I was like, "What's this shit? Why is that guy dressed up in a cape and everything?"
Yeah.
It was Ned Stark chopping that guy's head off in the beginning. But I've been following it since.
Did you watch the end and all that?
I refused to watch the last 2 episodes.
What? Why not?
It sucked ass.
I didn't mind it.
The series ending was just.
They got to end it, dude. They got to end it eventually.
Yes, they certainly do, and you're right about
And
that.
they
Every
left it
story has to come to an end, but they rushed it way too much.
Yeah, it seemed like they throttled it up a little bit toward the end.
What happened, I could be okay with. I thought the ending, because although I didn't watch the episodes, I know what happens. I thought the ending could have been on something a little better and different, darker maybe, but everything that happened was too rushed, though. Like, what pissed me off in the beginning was the first 2 episodes, I felt, first of all, nothing happened. And I get it. Like, yeah, you have to have build-up episodes.
Well, I was just going to say, you got to call them a
but
setup episode.
there's 6 episodes left in the entire show. Why are you wasting 2 of them with just build-up? Like, you could maybe close up some plot lines with other people in between.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
the Battle for Winterfell episode, yeah, that was just stupid. I mean, you spend 9 years building up this villain, and then he gets 1 episode and he's done.
Yeah. I thought, so my predictions were that he was going to last a little longer.
Me too.
The White Walker, the king of the dead there.
The Night King.
Night King. I thought he was going to last a little longer, and there was going to be some like dialogue between him and Jon Snow, and they were going to make like a deal and that kind of thing. It was kind of anticlimactic to have her come flying through the air and kill him.
It was cool.
It's
Like in the moment, the episode, I was on the edge of my seat, but then afterwards, I was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah.
And then the last episode, they just obviously they leave it open for all sorts of prequels and
It's
and
money.
spin-offs
Yeah.
and shit like that because there's so much money in that.
Oh, bro, 100%. That's
Yeah.
why they probably didn't worry about ending the show like they did, because they're like, well, we're going to have 5. They literally have 5 prequels lined up or add-ons ready to go.
Yeah. There's too much money involved. Way too much.
Way
money.
too much money. And I know this is such a typical thing to say, but the moment that it started getting super popular, and I try not to be this type of person
Shut
to say
it
this,
down.
the moment it got too popular, I'm like, it's going to go downhill. It's
Oh,
just, there's
yeah.
no way you can cater this to such a wide audience while still trying to keep intact what made it authentic and what made it so
Yeah,
great and so
yeah.
detailed. But all in all, I think it could have been better if they just stretched it out to 10 episodes and an additional season. So if they did 1 season with taking care of the Night King and then 1 season with Cersei, I think they could have done better.
Yeah, because I think the second to last season, that makes a good point. The second to last season could have been easily 3 or 4 episodes with the Night King.
Dude, they were...
Them bouncing around. But, no, wait a minute. Now I think about that. Because the Army of the Dead, they don't need anything. They don't do anything. They just march forward. So how long do you work that plot?
Well, what I thought would have been interesting was if, and what was suspicious was going to happen was they were going to end up in Dorne. Like all of Westeros was going to be destroyed, and there's going to be one last final stand at Dorne, because Dorne's the southern tip of the continent.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's other ways you could have done it. They could have played out many different ways. The way it ended is the way Martin intended it to end. The writer, the guy who originally wrote them, but he even said in an interview, he admitted in the interview, they were greenlighted for 13 seasons. And when asked why did they end it here, you could tell he didn't want to throw him under the bus, but he was like, I don't know, ask them. He was like, he basically said everything that happened, but it was very compressed.
Well, that, and also, if you kill everybody in every episode, how long can you make the fucking series go?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. But you could there's so much more you could have done with the plot line though. And also the big thing that really started killing it for me was the character shifts that were just so out of nowhere. Like they needed to be built up. Like Danny going from mother of the people to psychopathic killer
in one episode.
Way too much of a flip.
Yeah.
The bullshit with Euron and the fucking Patriot missile arrows, that was stupid.
Yeah.
Like you could have killed the dragon off in a way better way than that.
You mean the
In the fourth episode when she's flying at like 30,000 feet and couldn't see a fleet of ships
below?
Yeah.
And then my first thought is that just circle around to the backside and blow them up.
Yeah, well, it's funny. One ballista, that's the name of that type of that big arrow, that medieval device. One ballista took out a dragon with 3 on-point accuracy hits. I'm pretty sure a U.S. Patriot missile couldn't even do that. but then I hear.
So that's where you lost how accurate.
That was actually that was the last episode I watched, and I try not to be. I'm like, all right, it's a show, it's a movie. I try not to be anal about it.
Right.
But that's when I was like, all right, this is silly. So anyway, I have my opinion on it. It pissed me off because I was invested in the show for 9 years, and I'm like, oh, man, you had all the resources in the world, more than any other show in history, to keep this going for just a bit longer to end it right. And instead you're like, nah, fuck it, we'll close it up early.
I think my opinion on that is and I'm just pulling this out of air and a little bit of watching it. The reason they didn't go to 13 episodes is because they could shut it down now and go farther than 13 with the spin-offs. So they're looking at longevity.
So
they're looking at longevity instead of having it completely done at 13. Why don't we stop it now, and we can go another 10 or 12 years with some spin-offs?
And that's probably the reason why. But that doesn't excuse them, though. They still could have ended it better. They still could have done another season. It's just shitty how it ended.
Man, well, it's over.
Breaking Bad ended great, though.
I never got into that show.
Oh, fuck, dude.
No.
Do yourself a service and go watch Breaking Bad. You
I
want to talk
watched
about a well-rounded show?
Yeah, I watched like the first season and maybe like 1 or 2 of the second season, and then I was like, I just kind of lost it. And I don't know if that was some stuff going on in my life. I just stopped watching it and just never got back into it.
Sex change, it fucks with you.
It's kind of of changes your aspect of the way you look at things.
Yeah.
Fucking clown. Anyway, thanks, dude, for coming over.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Lunch was good.
Yes, lunch was delicious.
And,
I still feel it.
What's that?
I said I still feel it. All those noodles.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, I was like partially in a food coma walking in here.
Yeah, something about ramen is just amazing, dude. It's such comfort food.
Oh, 100%.
When you put a fucking half dozen eggs in yours.
That's the way you got to do it.
Till next time, my friend.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.